Hello, friends of Sudoku, and welcome to April 11th, 2023. And again, today, this is the hard edition of the New York Times Sudoku puzzle. Let's get started right away and see where this takes us. There's a 4 blocking down here and 1 blocking over, so this is a 4. And we have the typical New York pattern of a 4-7 in one row, a 4-7 in another row, and we need a 4-7 for this row as well. The only two squares available are these two here. So they have to be a 4 and a 7. And that makes these squares a 2, 3, and a 9. The 9 blocks these squares, therefore this must be a 9. These two 9s block down, and these two 9s block across, so a 9 must go here. 4, 7, so these are a 2 and a 3 blocks down, 2 goes here, 3 here. That was a quick flurry of digits. Nothing special though. They were all pretty easy and they all kind of jumped out at me. There's another 9 to be found. These two 9s block across. These two 9s block up here. So a 9 must go in this square. There is no other place for it. Now a 5 and an 8 must be found for two of these squares here. And let's see, I can't find any. But I do know that this 8 blocks down and this blocks up, so an 8 goes here, and an 8 now must go in one of these 3 squares. These 3 squares need a 6, 3, and a 2. These being a 4 and a 7, we have a 9 blocking down, 1 blocking up, 1 blocking over. So a 9 must go here. We now have all the 9s for today's grid. There's a 5 blocking down here, and there's a 5 blocking down here, and 1 blocking over. So 5 goes here. And that gives us, because this 5 blocks over and this blocks over, that gives us this 5 in row 8. And this 5 blocks up here, so this must be a 5. And 5 now must go in one of these two squares. And these two, of course, must be a 6 and a 1. Can we use that for anything? Well, we know that one of these now must be a 6, and well, that's all we know. But a 6 and a 1, it's not so bad. Now I'm noticing the 7 blocking here and the 7 blocking down here. So one of these is a 7, and that means that one of these is a 7. And we do remember that one of these also is a 7. So from that follows that one of these must be a 7, otherwise we wouldn't have a 7 at all in column 8. And we also recall that a 7 blocks up here, this 7 blocks up here. So one of these is a 7. Now a 7 for row 3 has only one square to go. A 7 is forced into this square. Now these two 7s block down. This 7 blocks over, therefore this is a 7. These 3 squares now must be a 1, 8, and a 6. This 6 blocks here, so these two squares must be a 1 and an 8, and the 6 is forced into this cell here. Finding this 7 was a good thing, I think, because now the 8 blocks up here and this 8 blocks over, so an 8 must go in this square. And now these squares are blocked from being an 8, and these squares are blocked, and 8 therefore goes in this cell here. Across here, we now need to find a 2, 6, and a 5. So a 5 blocks here and here, and that then makes this a 5. And these now must be a 2 and a 6. Can we say more about the 5s? Yes, we can. We have a 5 blocking over and a 5 blocking up. So a 5 goes here. these two fives here block these four squares. We got two fives blocking these squares in addition to those, so a 5 must go here. So a 2 and a 6 here, that makes these a 1, 3, and a 7. We know one of these is a 7, so this is a 1, 3. 1, 3. 1, 3, 2, and a 6 for the column. There's a 3, 6 here, so this is a 1, 2, but it's not really clear yet how to enter those. So let me look at these three. They have to be a 1, 2, and a 4. And again, there's nothing much I can do, except we know that one of these is a 6 and the other is a 1. So a 1 must go up here somewhere. And we know that one of these is a 1, the other is an 8. No, I'm not seeing it. 4, 7 here. 1, 2, 8, and a 3 for these. Okay, yes. 3 blocks up, 3 blocks down, 3 blocks over, 3 goes here. And now one of these must be an 8, and the two others must be a 2 and a 1. We got a 1 blocking over here, 1 blocking down, so this is a 1, and this is now a 2 and an 8. The 8 blocks over, so the 8 goes here, and the 2 must go here. This 2 blocks across, so this is a 2. And now these must be a 6 and a 3, making this square a 1 and this a 6. This is, I think, how it's got to be. These squares must be a 7, and we know that one of these had to be a 7, so I'm not even going to look down here. I know this must be a 7, and I know that one of these had to be a 7. Now this 7 is blocking, so I can plug in a 7 here without thinking much about that. The last digit in this column here has got to be a 4, which blocks across here, and this 4 blocks down, so this is a 4. Now these two 4s block across, this 4 blocks down, therefore this is a 4. This is looking really good today, I think, unless of course I've made a major gross mistake. These two squares must be a 1 and a 3, because these have to be a 2 and a 6. But hang on, these are now 1 and 8, right? So these must be a 2 and a 3. We got a 3 blocking down, so this is a 2 and this is a 3. But it's not really hard to find out what goes here, is it? It must be a 4. And that gives us a 4 from up here. We also had a 4 here, remember? And these now must be a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2 here. No, oh, hang on, we got a 6 up here as well, along with a 4. So this must be the 2, making this a 2 and this a 1. Therefore, this is a 1, and we now have a 1 for one of these squares here. We know that this is a 3 because these are still a 2 and a 6. So this is a 3. Blocking down here, and this 3 blocks across here. So this is also a 3, making this a 3, and this a 6, making this a 6 and this a 2. This now must be a 1, 2. Oh, I can count. Yes, I can count to 6. And these must be a 1 and a 2 now. This is a 1 and an 8 still. So let's look elsewhere for the next digit. This is a 1 and an 8, and this is a 1 and an 8. But we do have an 8 blocking down. So the 1 goes here, and the 8 here, and the 1 here, and here. And this must be the 2, making one of these a 2. And this 2 blocks down, doesn't it? So this is a 2. And this has therefore got to be a what? A 7, making this a 7 and this a 4. You may wonder why I know this intuitively. That's because those are the first two digits we found had to go in these squares. So as soon as I see a 7 here, I know immediately that this is going to be a 7 and this is a 4. There is no magic involved here. This is also a 4, and we know from memory that this is a 6, making this a 6, and this must be an 8. And that is how we solve today's not too difficult